Hey Brady Boyd, I see your note there. Yeah, it's been a while. Huh, interesting. Fab, that's Favorite Darkness, isn't it? Your Favorite Darkness? We're probably going back a few years now. Haven't seen her for a long time. Well, it's been very up and down, let's just say that, okay, Brady Boyd? Thanks for stopping by. This is kind of a spontaneous thing here. I'm trying to catch up and keep the kindling wood and the simmering, let's say, what do you call it? The embers of Terra Lumination. Try to keep it going so that we can figure out what to do next. Cheers. Welcome. Hello, Melissa. Hi. Yeah, Brady, it's been very, very bumpy. Up and down, up and down, up and down. So here we are tonight. This is a spontaneous event. I'm hoping that oh, hello. I didn't even have to ask. Thank you, Melissa. Yeah, I'm doing, I can do a small handful of live mini readings tonight, depending on where you are. So let me put that over here. Hello, Melissa. Thank you very much. So that's one way to do it. Thank you, Melissa. That's the super chat. So for those of you who are watching, you can spontaneous. Hello, Path. Good evening. So yeah, Melissa, thank you. So for the viewers, Melissa chose to book a little mini reading using the super chat function, and that's where you type it in. Just type it in and it comes through over here in the chat. If you want to, you can also use PayPal. If you have your own PayPal, you could send it to this address here, alittlebookabout@yahoo.com, and that will get to Terra Lumination. The other thing you can do is you can go over here to the, hold on. Oh, there he is. Hold on, I wanted to show you the actual page where you can do it. You can go over to terralumination.com. I know it's complicated steps because, there's the screen to watch the show, then you have to use other browsers and pull out credit cards and, start playing with online payment processors. But we've done it before. It can be done again. So basically, like Melissa, you can just do a super chat direct, and that comes through YouTube. They take 30%. You can do PayPal to alittlebookabout@yahoo.com, or you can go to terralumination.com and click the donate, and that will open up a payment processor. Very simple. Just need a debit card. Gregory is saying, oh, okay, let me put this up here. Gregory just put in a donation on the website. Okay, perfect. Okay, Mr. Ross. There we go. Spontaneous mini readings, here we come. All right, hello, Path. There's a link below. Donate here, super easy. Yes, thank you. So we're up to a good, fun start there. Let's go back over to the stage itself so you can see what we're doing. Here we are. So, first up, Melissa, then we got Gregory. Let's see what else is going on. I just literally set things up for the evening. I'm hoping to get an hour or two in here. Hello, Love Driver. Greetings. I'll just put this off to the side for a moment, and I'm just going to point out a few things on the Astrodoodle for the day. Jaswinder Bala, okay. Let's have a look. What actions will Johan take towards me this month? We are both friends and both friends. Okay. That's going to be interesting. Let's have a look. Thank you, Jasminder. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to I'll go back to that when we're in the chat, okay? All righty. Thank you very much, all of you. So it's kind of, I would say, kind of an awkward, quirky day. There's a lot of shifting going along here in May. I don't know if you remember April, but during April, all the planets were moving in direct motion. It's sort of like being on a really, really big highway with 7 or 10 lanes, and it's all moving. I know there's no crashes, there's no orange cones, there's no flashing amber alerts. It's just everybody's moving, and they're moving at optimal speed. And then, kerblam, at the end of April, oh no, things start to slow down a little bit. We have to double check our actions here. Pluto's in Capricorn, now retrograde. Okay, so this gray bar is going to be with us for the next 5 months, okay? That's Pluto in Capricorn hovering around 26 degrees for 5 months, people. So wherever this spot lies in your chart, that is going to be like someone doing this to you. Grinding, grinding, grinding on one particular pressure point. Now, you might not be a Capricorn. You might not have any Capricorn planets or anything in your chart, but for sure, you do have Capricorn at 26 degrees somewhere in your chart. It's going to be there somewhere. And that's an extreme pressure point, but it's very, very, very deep, so you might not even know it's happening. Hello, Starzy. See you. I got you. I see you. All these green blobs here, they're kind of interesting, sweet, kind of comfortable arrangements. Fine. I don't want to talk about it too much. This is the little, let's say, the problem child here. We have Saturn in Aquarius, okay? It's about 13 degrees in a hard square with these planets over here in Taurus. Aquarius and Taurus are very, very different energies. Aquarian energy is very radical, spontaneous, mental, scientific, let's say futuristic, very, let's say, cerebral. Okay? You could think of that as, I don't know, electric cars and the internet and bizarre, weird scientific discoveries and things like that. You could also think of it as like there's kind of the community atmosphere, the Aquarian vibe of there's no boss here, there's no leader. We are the people. We figure things out in a group, in a community. Okay? There is no Lord and Master and a bunch of servants. It's a community. Now, this is a completely different energy. It has absolutely nothing to do with Taurus energy, which is very much to do with Earth. Earth, planet Earth, material things like metals, wood, paper, oceans, forests, rivers, mountains, tectonic plates, things of value like gold, like oil, like gas. And a lot of it is very much associated with planet Earth, okay? All of our resources essentially come out of planet Earth, okay? And the sun is in Taurus right now, heading towards Gemini. Uranus is in Taurus, and we just had the new moon in Taurus just the other day. And a couple of days before that, I don't know about you, but it felt very serene and calm and peaceful to me personally. And that's typical for me. It's my own experience. I'm just sharing it. At the very end of a lunar cycle before we start the new moon, things tend to get very, very quiet and peaceful. Just like you're watching a tide go out and then it just hovers very peacefully for a while and then it starts to come back in. Hello, Robin. I see you. Okay. And so we have Saturn in Aquarius. So Saturn, the taskmaster, the teacher, the great teacher, where you get rewarded after you've done your work, and you tend to get punished if you haven't done your work. Saturn is in Aquarius. Saturn in Aquarius is testing humanity to see how humane we are. How much are we truly relating to each other as we the people, where we are all under the same, we live on the same planet. We share this planet, okay? And Saturn is testing us. How are each of us behaving in that context? Is it all about me, 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 me? Are you contributing to society? Are you trying to take from society? Are you trying to control society? Are you a victim of the perverted side of Aquarius, which is what I would call communism? Okay? And that clashes very hard. Saturn is in Aquarius. Look at this. Okay? Saturn is in Aquarius. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. Uranus is the planet of revolution, freedom, radical shifts, spontaneous awakening. The whole point of Uranian energy is awakening, like shock waves that put us up to the next level of evolution. So Uranus in Taurus. Uranus is not very comfortable in Taurus. What tends to happen is that Taurus, which is a peace-loving sign, it likes stability, comfort, predictability, all the good solid things on Earth for long periods of time. And then Uranus comes along and shakes that all up, like spontaneous earthquakes, lightning, thunderstorms, volcanoes, floods, what else is there? Fires. Also think of Taurus in very tight harmony with Capricorn. So we're talking about very measurable things on Earth, like infrastructure, like banks, bridges, highways, gasoline, oil, timber, copper, metals, gold, silver, platinum, lithium for batteries, cement, granite for concrete and building. All those things come under Taurus. Also the oceans, the forests, all of that is being shaken up and destabilized. It's interesting. Aquarius, Uranus. You get it? So this energy is really clashing. So again, every one of you, somewhere you have Saturn 13 degrees in your chart. Well, you don't necessarily have Saturn, but you have Aquarius 13 degrees, and you have Taurus at about 24, 25 degrees. Okay? And you have Uranus at about 10 degrees. Somewhere with the Taurus degrees, the Aquarian degrees, those are in your chart too. So that's where you're going to be feeling the pressure in your own individual chart, okay? Wherever that lies. And it could be absolutely anywhere. Okay? So if anyone's interested, I'm still available for private consultations. Cheers, everybody. Okay, I'm not going to talk about that one. I'll mention that one. This is such a very deep, long-term story. We could have whole shows just on this thing here itself. But anyway, tonight, let's just get on with some readings. Let's see who else. Did I miss anybody? Hello, Robin. See you. So I don't know if I can handle a lot of readings tonight, but we're going to start with Melissa, then Gregory, then Jasvinder. Okay? So right now, for planet Earth, with the Taurus energy, we are being, let's say, the focus of the energy is on stability, comfort, money, wealth, value, values, beliefs, your belief systems. For example, in my world, I wrote a book, Money. What about money? Money is what we believe it to be. What do you believe money to be in your life, in your world? The subject of money is incredibly important right now, okay? All this energy here in Taurus, we just had the new moon in Taurus. There's huge leaps, almost violent highly spontaneous, highly unpredictable, highly volatile things that are happening in the global economy right now to do with money, and money, plus banking and banking and banking. And that includes cryptocurrencies and everything else to do with money. That could be to things like, insurance policies, savings programs, your pension funds, your retirement funds, your college loans, your mortgages, your credit card payments, your healthcare payments, all of those things to do with other people's money, inheritances, all of that stuff is going on right now. The subject of money, in its simplest term, is an extremely important topic for planet Earth right now. We are going through global evolutionary leaps in terms of the understanding of what money is, okay? So what does it mean for you, okay? Okay, Melissa, let's get rolling. Come on, let's do this. I'm going to put this aside. Let's tuck these over here and come back to that in a minute. Cheers, Melissa. Thank you for starting up the show so nicely. Oh, well, here we go. I think, Melissa, we've had a couple of readings before. And I have kind of a goldfish memory. In a way, I'm glad to have that because it allows me to just live in the moment. It's almost like the past never existed. The future, what's that? The only thing that counts is now. What's happening right now? Now, for me personally, Melissa, I don't store a lot of things up in my brain. I might have deep memories in terms of like the emotional currents and things, but I don't store data. I have a very, very, I would say, tiny storage unit up there in my head, and I don't want to overload it. And I realize there's no point in loading it up because it's better to let the information live out there. We can access it as needed. But I do remember you mentioning, I'm sure it was you, Capricorn Sun and Mercury in Aquarius. Mercury, Aquarius, rising moon. Capricorn, Sun, and Mercury. Okay, that makes sense because typically the Sun and Mercury stay very close together. So, for example, if you wanted to, Melissa, I could turn this into a solar chart, okay? And it would look like this. These are the planets, sacred geometry, and how it affects you personally. All these trigger points here. There's the Capricorn solar sun in the first house. We could also turn it into a natal chart by flipping it around. Watch this. And in this case, we put Aquarius on the horizon with Leo opposing. Okay? So with your Aquarius rising and moon, your chart would look more like this. I love working with solar charts and natal charts. They tell two completely different stories. So if ever I do a reading with a client and we get into this stuff, it's amazing what you can discover when you pull up the solar chart relative to the natal chart, if that makes any sense. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that. So we have one chart where this would be the transits for the day for Melissa on her rising moon sign, okay, which is probably the most common way that charts are read. But I love the solar charts, and that would look like this. It's a completely different story. And they're both happening simultaneously. It's like looking in a mirror and get with those angled mirrors, and you're getting different views of yourself. It's still you, but from a different perspective. So Aquarius rising and moon. So with the Aquarius rising and moon, it's very interesting. Well, I don't want to make too much out of it because the thing is, the United States is born with an Aquarius south node over here. And the Leo axis is very important. Okay? And I don't want to go into that now. Sorry, let's just get on with your reading. Okie doke. So it's going to be general. We'll see what pops up. Starsy, yeah, these last years have been intensely crazy. frankly, you can say thank you to Pluto, okay? Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto in particular. All right, hold on. I'm going to use the Golden Tarot tonight, just for variety's sake. And after, so Gregory, just be patient, and Jasvinder, please be patient. So Jasvinder, if you have to go and do something else, you'll still get your reading, okay? And Gregory too. I know sometimes you're very busy. You got to go out and do things, and you know there's life that has to be lived. But you'll get your reading anyway, Gregory. All right, Melissa. Now, you said general, so I'm going to leave it completely wide open. Like so. So, we can preface the reading like this. Dear heavenly beings, whoever's here with us tonight, including Tarot Illumination and his own invisible friends and spirit guides and all of that, and also Melissa, your own little cluster. Remember, you have your own little personal cluster, and then there's like the the big stars of the show, all the big archangels and everything that you can read about in books. But believe me, Melissa, you do have your own specific group of invisible friends. They are basically like soul energies of people from the future, from the past, if you want to call it that, who are there for you right now in this lifetime. Time is irrelevant over there, so they don't mind if it takes you years to figure out one problem. It's not a big deal to them. But they're also very capable of living in the moment, along with you. And they love to be invited. It's so... Here, hold on. Let me just say hello to everybody. Hold on. Hello. So, Melissa, you, just like everyone else, whether you like it or know it or not, you have your own, like collection. Like a small little group of invisible friends. It's specific to you. And whether you like it or know it or not, they're there. The thing is that life can become, let's say, more delicious or more multidimensional if you invite them in, if you deliberately invite them in and say a little prayer or something. Hey, dear invisible friends, dear spirit guides from the great beyond or something, I don't know you personally, but I wouldn't mind if you introduced yourself to me. Could you send me signals, signs, messages, or something that I could recognize as a three-dimensional human being that would let me have definitive awareness that you guys and you gals are out there. Thank you very much. Amen. And that's it. But then you just wait. They love to be invited. It's literally like they're there, but it's their job is not to steer you or control you or anything like that. It's all about free will. The Aquarian energy is incredibly important right now for humanity. Humanity has to understand the energy of free will. The Aquarian theme is very much about freedom for you to be you. Each one of us, even though we could be regarded as just a bunch of cows being herded onto a debt farm where our identity doesn't matter. The debt farmers don't give a damn about you and your personal identity. You're just a debt cow to them. But for us here, we're very, very... Each one of us is unique. Okay? Anyway, let's go on with that. Sorry, I got carried away. Sorry, Melissa. Hello, Maria. Hi, Maria. So, Melissa, as time goes on, year after year after year, you don't have to, do this like a regimented practice, but it really does help every now and again if you invite your spirit guides to join you and participate in your life, literally like having a group of friends who are always available there for you. All right, let's have a look. Let's see what comes up here. We're just going to do the good old Tarot Lumination situational spread. It's just a diagnostic tool. That's all it is. No flyers, no jumpers, no reversals. I like to keep it super simple, and I like to respect the artists and the creators of these amazing cards in the first place. Love Triber. Oh, what's that? Hold on. Love Triber has a note for us. My spiritual guides usually connect with me in repeating numbers, songs, and I find lots of dimes in unusual places. And feathers. Well, there you go. Okay? So that's just one example. That's just one example of how your spirit guides can manifest to you in your life. Okay? All right, Melissa. Let's have a look. What do we got going on here? I'm going to keep shuffling. I mean, they're already shuffled, well shuffled, but I like to go really clean to the very last second so that you're a witness. I see your note there, Melissa, yeah. Okay, here we go. Let's have a look. Oops. A little bit shaky there, but we're good. We're good. All right, let's have a look. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. I'm going to shuffle this over a little bit because we're going to look at the weather in a moment. Now, when I pull this open, I'm going to be feeling it in reference to the planets, okay? So just allow for that, all right? So we have here the Five of Swords. So I'm sure this is specifically relating to the hard squares between Saturn in Aquarius and Sun and Uranus in Taurus, okay? So the energy of the Five of Swords is a little bit harsh. It's cerebral, it's mental, so let's attribute that to the Aquarius. And everything out there is earth, like there's the sand and there's the beach and there's the ocean and the clouds and the sky. That's all part of planet Earth. And it's like it's being completely ignored because these people are in a state of conflict, which is actually more like a lose-lose situation. So, Melissa, the way I feel about this is that it's not about you're a loser in a lose-lose situation and everyone else is a loser too, so what's the point of living kind of thing. It's not like that at all. What I'm sensing here is that it's like be aware of these very subtle traps where the energy of, okay, let's be honest, okay, I'm going to get a little bit personal here, Melissa. Aquarian energy can be very, very brittle. Very, very, very brittle. Just like that. You just say the wrong thing at the wrong time, with the wrong feelings for the wrong reason. It can be literally like broken glass or something to the Aquarian. And it causes a lot of pain and it's very disruptive and disturbing. It's very different energy for Taurus. The Taurus would be more like an immovable object. So it's different ways that the energies interact. So what you can have is, with the Five of Swords here, for me, what it's showing is that, okay, gosh, okay, let me go back. Okay, sorry. With Saturn transiting Aquarius right now, and then we flip it onto your natal chart, okay, Aquarius rising, Aquarius moon, okay, what that tells me is that you're very sensitive. Think of the moon, okay, to the feelings and the emotions tied with being an Aquarian. Rising, okay? Aquarian identity rising. So the Aquarian identity rising would be cerebral, quirky, unique, let's say, often perceived by others as kind of intellectual or intriguing, or constantly morphing energy like a kaleidoscope in motion. And then you put Saturn there. Saturn is pretty much sitting right in the middle of your first house of natal identity, the natal house here. So Saturn is testing you. Saturn is testing you, the individual, your identity. Like, who am I really? Who am I really, as Melissa Lawrence? And then for every time you get tested and you, let's say, you respond to the situation and the test in a way that's, let's say, in alignment with the will of heaven or in alignment with the laws of the universe, then that will be, let's say, recorded, like on your report. And after Saturn leaves Aquarius in about another year and a half, you will be, let's say, informed, or you will receive your report for how you did in the test. But for the duration of this transit, Saturn in Aquarius, you are being tested. And that test can be very uncomfortable. You might feel as though you're constantly being challenged by, let's say, perhaps external sources to discover and learn more about who you are, but not take it personally. Okay, so Saturn is in Aquarius there, and with the Aquarian nature, it might be that every time you come across a challenging experience, particularly with or from another person, we're looking at the first house and the seventh house, it would be very natural to be, let's just say, reactive. And in the reactive energy, that would be on the understanding that you're not fully, let's say, conversant or fully matured in the understanding about how Saturn works in your life, in your chart. And so you, in your journey to represent yourself, when you come across conflicting energies that challenge you, it would be very easy to react. Reacting is different from responding, but when you react, it can often be like a futile experience. Like, what's the point in reacting? Because people believe what they believe, and you believe what you believe. And if you insist that, well, this is how I am, and then someone else or something else insists that, well, I'm sorry, but Melissa, you have to understand, from our perspective, you are this, this, and this. And then if you get sucked into that, it's a lose-lose conversation. So just be aware that the way I look at it is right now you are vulnerable, very vulnerable to this transit. Okay? It's happening right now. This is going to be going on for at least another year over here, so be aware. This is going to shift in a few days, but Uranus in Taurus is still going to be here for years to come. Okay? So be aware. So I know I'm reading an awful lot into this card, but what it's essentially saying is, Melissa, just be aware you're swimming and living your life in an environment where it's incredibly easy to get stuck into like lose-lose conversations. You trying to prove yourself, and it doesn't matter. Like, people believe what they believe, and if you are, let's say, offended by someone else's beliefs about who and how you are and why you are the way you are, there's no point in taking it personally, because you'll never win the argument against them, and they'll never win the arguments against you. So there's no point in even getting sucked in the first place. Just be aware that you're vulnerable, okay? Over here, what's the situation? Okay, with the Seven of Cups, my feeling is that right now, it's probably to do with the Neptune thing, okay? This is very, very dreamy kind of magical, spiritual energy. Sometimes very hard to understand, sometimes easy. Sometimes I see this as the Einstein card. This is the genius card, where you get, let's say, divine inspiration through your dreams, and you wake up in the morning having the answers to certain things about life. This is how Einstein discovered E equals mc squared, and so on. People are connected to heaven. A lot of the big developments in the worlds of physics and math and science, all of that happened through divine inspiration, okay? Now, you might be awakening to a part of yourself, Melissa, which is to do with this energy of divinity, divine inspiration, getting feelings, messages from the unknown that don't seem to make any sense, like how did I understand that? Where did that come from? I think this is very closely associated with your subconscious, your dreamland. And I would associate that, let's get to the astrology. You see this? Jupiter is leaving Aquarius for a short while. It's already it's 29 degrees when I made this morning. But tonight, right now, it's at the 0 point. Jupiter is at the 0 point cusp between Aquarius and Pisces. And so this might feel as like you're coming adrift. Like, wait a minute. Because you've been living with Jupiter in Aquarius for the last, 9 months or so. 10 months or whatever. And you got used to it. But when it shifts into Pisces, Jupiter in Pisces is a very different energy compared to Jupiter in Aquarius. Jupiter in Aquarius is very optimistic. It's encouraging. It would, let's say, it would entice you to become your best self. Imagine your best self possible. And then it flips into your natal second house. Pisces on your second house, okay? It's a very different energy, and it might be very disorienting because Jupiter in Pisces, it's like taking a magnifying glass or a lens or an amplifier and turning it onto the energy of Pisces instead of Aquarius. So we're with Pisces energy, that's that in your second house here. To me, it's like, well, you're being awakened. You are being awakened to, let's say, certain values and principles in your life which are to do with very, let's say, I would say divine spirituality at the core of your nature. What do you value? What are your values? Do you place value on your dreams? Do you place value in divinity? Do you place value in the things that you can't understand or see or touch? Because they are there. Like these could be, for example, your 7 invisible friends. I personally, in my own life, I already have a certain group of invisible friends, and there happen to be 7, a group of 7, and they are like interns to the angels. So I relate to this very strongly myself, and I'm trying to convey something similar for you, Melissa. To me, it looks like it's time to forget about like worldly and psychological mental entanglements between yourself and other people, and it's time to look inward and give yourself a chance to tune into your spirit. Tune into spirit, okay? What's the problem here? Okay. To me, this feels like a very steep learning curve. Like, we're talking about this, Melissa, on a kind of an academic level. Like, here I am doing tarot illumination, spontaneous mini readings, fine. I'm trying to do it in language that's hopefully understandable. But when I see the Ace of Cups here, to me it feels like we're taking a leapfrog. It's just imagine, okay, Melissa, just imagine we're in some kind of like university seminar right now, and I'm some kind of like famous professor about astrology and spirituality, and you're listening and you kind of go, yeah, I know, blah, 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 but, and you raise the hand, and you say something like, hello, Professor Tarot Lumination. Could you please explain to us exactly what is the healing power of love and who are these invisible friends? And then, pretend like, go along with the story. Pretend I'm like here, I'm trying to just hold a class or something, and then you randomly, spontaneously, Aquarian style, just put up the hand and go like, oh, excuse me, like, this Ace of Cups thing, what is this, all this, like this, like serene, this celestial energy, the healing power of love that flows into our bodies from up above? What is that? And then I'm up there trying to, like, And I'm kind of like, who's that? Oh, Melissa. Oh, that's a very awkward question right now. You know, I'm just trying to do my show. If you don't mind, kind of thing. Excuse me. Thank you, Melissa. But it's a very valid question. So let me get back over here. It's like to me it feels like it's a huge question. It's like you're starting to dip your toes into the next level of evolution for your life, which is probably nothing to do with the way your life has been experienced up till now. Because when Jupiter goes into Pisces, it's going to change everything for everybody. So for you, Melissa, it's very much to do with love, the healing power of love, the definition of love. How do you define love? Where does it come from? Where is it going? How do you own this stuff? How do you capture it? How do you keep it? How do you enjoy it? How do you feel this? All this amazing. This is a card of sacred opportunity. Okay, Melissa, it's just there. Like, so what do you do with that? It's just like being at a bizarre kind of zoo or museum, and this shows up. And so this isn't bad. I'm just saying this is just very, very different energy to what you might been used to for the last year. Oh dear, this is empty. Damn. Hold on. I'm going to switch out, and then later I'll take a little break and I'll fill the small glass again. But right now, cheers, Melissa. I know it sounds like I'm going really over the top on these readings with just 3 cards, but I can't help it. Like when I get in the zone with this stuff, everything just floods out like a movie. So anyway, here's the problem. It's just like understanding love. Where is it? What does love mean for you in your life? Okay, what's that going to look like? Boyfriends, husbands, partners, romance, physicality. What's it going to look like? And what I'd like to offer before we go into this card here, Melissa, is that I'm just offering this from personal experience. Over the long term, the hallmarks that I would look for that resonate with the Ace of Cups is like if you can spot it in the energy from other people, okay? From the other, okay? You got Saturn in Aquarius, okay, over here, the first house energy. So over here in the 7th house, you know, as the moon goes through Leo or other moon through Leo or whatever, sun with Leo, you know, later on this year in August, you're going to be facing opposition. But in the meantime, every day you're learning and receiving messages from outside of you about what love is. What does it mean to you? And what I would recommend is looking for the things that really count over the long term, like trust, honesty, patience, consideration, affection, respect of privacy, respect of time. Now, there's other qualities. I can't remember all the list, but if you ever read a book by Scott Peck, it's called The Road Less Traveled, you would learn a lot from there. Because that's what love is really about. Forget the romance stuff. I mean, it's great. You know, forget the sensuality. That's great. But when it comes down to the bedrock stuff, I would highly recommend reading The Road Less Traveled. So how are we going to deal with this? Because it feels to me like you're being jolted into an awkward learning experience where you're being taken to the next level, where you're going to be asking questions and you're going to be receiving answers. How are we going to deal with this? Because I think it's going to be very different from what you might have known or expected. And with your Aquarian theme, you're obviously going to be always asking questions from an academic perspective. Okay? Oh, the ice cream truck is here. I don't know if you can hear it. But anyway, so with the Magician here, Okay, sorry, let me show you. Here's the Magician, okay? How are we going to deal with this? The way we're going to deal with this, the way you're going to deal with these, let's say, very awkward energy fields, these very awkward questions that are coming at you, which may put you at odds with others and other people at odds with you. It could be the community, it could be one-on-one individuals, but you are going to be tested. And so when you are tested, what I'm sensing here with the Magician is that, number one, please remember that Saturn is your friend. Saturn is your friend, so long as you respect the energy of Saturn, okay? And you understand that Saturn's not doing anything to punish you or hurt you. Saturn is helping you to grow and to mature in a steady, one step at a time manner, okay? Saturn is a very earthy sign in alignment with Taurus type energy here. But it is in the sign of Aquarius. So it is testing the Aquarian energy. Who are you really, Melissa Lawrence? And the way you deal with it as you go through this period of questioning, this period of really deep change, profound change that you're entering now, I think as Jupiter enters Pisces, the energy of love, the understanding of love is going to become a prominent subject for you. Whatever else is going on is fine, but this is going to be a very important theme. And the way you deal with it is that, to me, it looks like you face it head on. Okay? Let's say every day or every other day you meet some kind of quirky, awkward, very uncomfortable, or let's say unavoidable situation where you are forced to go deeper and ask these questions of yourself. What does love mean for me personally? And what you do is you stand in your power. You don't diminish yourself in front of the others. You don't lord yourself or exert your power over others. You stay purely in your own zone, in your own lane, in your own power. Path Traveler knows a lot about this. You stay in your power, knowing that the answers are going to come to you. They could come to you in any form, through, let's say, excitement or energies or activity with the wands, or through knowledge or information or communications with the swords, or through physical manifestations with money and stuff and measurable, or it could come through romance and affection. Whatever the messages that come to you in whatever form, you stand your ground, however uncomfortable it is, and you accept the energy for what it is. And then you learn accordingly. You don't fight it, you don't challenge it, you just be grateful. Stand in your power, give yourself permission to be in your power, but you don't, let's say, abuse your power if you feel uncomfortable or threatened or disturbed or disoriented by what you learn or experience, whatever's coming at you. Instead, you simply hold your position and very gracefully accept the energy, the imagery, the information that comes to you. It's very, very valuable, whatever it is. And you will know it when it happens, okay? Thank you, Melissa. That's your mini reading. Mr. Ross, you're up next. Let's have a look. Hello, Nikki. Yay. Good to see you. Thank you. Mr. Ross, hope you're still here. I know you're a busy man, out and about, on the slopes, out on the town, with your people, friends and family, all of that stuff. But anyway, let's have a look. You're here right now. I'm going to just shuffle this up. I'm sorry, Melissa, if that reading went on for a very long time. For some reason, it just kind of spilled out all over the stage here. And I just had to do my best to try and capture it and put it into words that hopefully made a little bit of sense for you. Thank you. Okay, I'm just going to shuffle up. Thank you, Melissa. Very kind. Thank you. I'm just clearing the deck here for Gregory. Hey, I see you. Alrighty. Thank you, Melissa. Cards are shuffled. Cheers, Mr. Ross. Good evening. Terra Lumination, as you know, is broadcasting from Las Vegas. It is very hot here, and it's very sunny. For the last 2 days, I get up early in the morning and I go for my bicycle ride over to the cafe. And when I head out, it's cool, it's beautiful. The air is relatively clean and dry. I didn't have too much sneezing or allergies. And then I look up. There's nothing there. There were no jets, no chemtrails, no jet trails, not even a whisper of a cloud. The whole freaking sky was light blue. Can you imagine what that's like? I mean, it's just a vast... When you look up to the sky, think about it. When you look up, you're seeing roughly 60 miles in all directions, and then you're looking upwards to the tip of the atmosphere. The atmosphere goes up, I think it's about 25, 30, 40, 50, 60 miles, and after about 7,500 miles, you're in outer space. Okay? So this always amazes me. Like, if we're sitting out on the barbecue patio at nighttime looking up at the stars, and you're looking up and you're thinking, oh look, there's Venus. Oh look, there's Saturn. Oh wow, that one's, I don't know, whatever is that. And you realize there's absolutely nothing between you and that star or that constellation. There's nothing. It's just a straight line of eyesight. And sometimes it's hundreds of millions, if not billions of miles. For some reason, that always blows me away. Because when we're living here on Earth, we are used to having our vision obstructed by, oh, there's a tree, there's a lamppost, there's a person, there's a house, there's a building. You have a very limited vision down here on the surface of Earth. But when you look up, whew, it's amazing. Okay. Oh, Nikki's saying pollen is awful in New York right now. Yeah. I suffer from a little bit of, I've had a lot of sneezing and breathing problems here. Okay, Justwinder, if you've got a headache, Justwinder, if you've got a headache, I also highly recommend magnesium pills. Get these really big magnesium pills. If you're taking aspirin, ibuprofen or something, great, but the magnesium really helps too, okay? So just hang in, Jaswinder. You're going to be the one after Gregory, okay? Okay, let's get back. Sorry, Gregory, I went off on a rant there. Let's have a look. Cheers, my man. Cheers. I'm going to shuffle a little bit more if you don't mind. All right, let's have a look here. All right, Mr. Ross, let's get settled in. Nicely shuffled here. I'm going to do a very extreme cut. Uh-oh, Bubba's here. He wants to find out what's going on. Hi, Bubba. Hello, Bubba. I know it's near your dinner time. Bubba's here. He wants to come up and say hello. Let me see if I can do this. Come on, Bubba. Let's say hello to everybody. Come on. Sorry, Gregory. Give me a second here. It won't take long. Bubba is he's a very sensitive cat. Here's Bubba. He loves to be kind of where the action is. Like where the people are. Okay? That's just how he is. He just likes to be part of it all. He just likes to hang out and be, just part of the gang. He's a handsome fellow, don't you think? Anyway, that's little Bubba. He's a very magical cat. There. He's a total sweetheart. Also, we have Boo Boo. Uh-oh. Bubba. Bubba wants a reading. Oh, no. No, he doesn't. Sorry. I thought Bubba wanted a reading just then. It's okay. Oh. Sometimes Boo Boo comes in now and again. Anyway. That was kind of a spontaneous thing there. Let's see what's going on. Now, I just did a very extreme cut. Okay, Gregory? Let's leave it at that. Let's just say that we are exceptionally blessed this evening, that all of us are here, that we can do any of this at all. Personally, as far as I'm concerned, there's this part of me which just takes it all for granted. Oh, there's the computers, there's all this software, there's all the lights, there's the cameras, and there's internet and electricity, and fine. But when you think about it, it's pretty incredible. It's real to me. It's incredible. These things seem to grasp me, like how humanity has changed so much in the last 150 years. It's not a coincidence that Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto were discovered astrologically, astronomically in the last 150 years or so. Up until then, all these mysterious energies that were, let's say, attributed to incomprehensible sources were outsourced, to mythological creatures. But the astrologers and the astronomers, they knew for a fact that there had to be other planets out there. And lo and behold, it was proven. And it's no coincidence that the same time that each planet was proven in order, Uranus, then Neptune, then Pluto, humanity changed profoundly at each level of discovery. And that's where we are now today. We're on the far, far fringes of understanding who we are as humanity. And we're discovering parts of ourselves that are not so pretty. We're also discovering parts of ourselves that are just amazing. And it's all happening simultaneously. So there you go. All right, Gregory. So everything I just said applies to you too. Okay? It's for all of us. It's a miracle that we're here, that we can do any of this at all. Right, so bless this deck. Bless every single card. Bless the cameras, lights, technology, softwares, microphones, cables, electricity, the plastic, the glass, the metal, all the rare earths, all of it that makes this happen. It's already cut. So here we go. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. And let's look at the weather for you. Ace of Pentacles. Oh. So I think this is very much to do with the new moon. Okay? With new moon in Taurus. The new moon in Taurus. It's like a gateway. Card of Sacred Opportunity. Ace of Pentacles. So to me, there's some question marks that's come with this, but also some very clear definitives. I'll show you. Over here, we just had, a couple days ago, we just had the Taurus new moon. All right? The moon is over here in, what is it, Gemini right now? Yeah. Give me a second. I want to get the exact degree of the moon. Give me a second, okay, Gregory? I want to find, if I possibly can, the exact degree of the moon. And it is only really in, it's kind of sort of in the middle. Okay. All right, so about 14 degrees. That's fine. So, all right, sorry, I'm playing with the computers here. So, we just had the end of a lunar cycle and the start of a new lunar cycle. The new moon in Taurus over here. So there was a strong emphasis on money. Money, money, money. Also, other ways of understanding money in terms of value and values, beliefs and belief systems. Remember, money is what we believe it to be. What do you believe money to be? And so, to me, this is like this big question mark, which is giving you a moment of sacred opportunity to understand or figure out the next level of, wow, what does money really mean for me? How am I going to look at money going forward from this day onward? How am I going to look at my money, my source of money, my value systems, my beliefs about money, where it comes from, how do I get it, how do I deserve it, what am I going to do with it when I've got it, what happens if, what are the threats to losing that money or draining that money, what does it all mean? So I think right now, some people think that money is not, it's kind of dirty, like a dirty subject. Some people worship money as though it's like God. But really money is just like an energy field. It's like a form of energy. So with the Ace of Pentacles here, my feeling is that for you right now, you're kind of in a sweet spot where you kind of get this window, like a window, they call it a window of opportunity. Wow. You can have a glimpse, kind of looking at planet Earth from outer space, kind of looking at Gregory Ross yourself from outer space. Imagine yourself looking at yourself, and you get to look at yourself like, wow, how do I feel about money? What does money really mean to me? How do I protect my money? How do I protect my privacy? How do I protect myself? Where does my money come from? Where does my money go to? Is there fake money? Is there real money? What is this all about? I think it's a very important topic for you right now, Gregory. Money. Here's the situation. Okay, so it might feel as though you're a little bit trapped in such that with the subject of money, let's make it very clear, money. With the subject of money, it's like, in some ways it is a trap. Guess what? For example, let's say, there's somebody who has huge amounts of debt. Okay, like credit cards, car payments, mortgages, healthcare plans, debts to other people, college, everything like that. It's a trap. It's like being ensnared in a trap from which you can never escape. Nikki just put something on the screen there. Money equals freedom of movement. That's another way to look at it. And so, with the Devil card here, please don't be scared of the Devil card here. My feeling is that this could be very valuable to you, very useful to you, to get a glimpse of everything that you need to know and understand about money in your life and your world in a way that is not really to your benefit. So in other words, it's time to examine your life, look at your life and find out, where am I a slave to this thing called money? Where am I bound up with money to the point where money is not joyful anymore? Getting the money, finding the money, having the money, protecting the money, saving the money, spending the money is not joyful anymore. It feels more like a curse. We need to identify that. like a form of contrast. Let me go over here again. With the Taurus energy over here, Sun in Taurus, Uranus in Taurus. We just had the Taurus new moon. You might be thinking like, wow, I really need to take a closer examination about this thing called money in my life. What is it? Where does it come from? What is the curse of money? What is the joy of money? How can I make the best of it? How can I overcome the challenges and the burdens? How can I optimize my money, my wealth, my talents, my resources? How am I going to reconfigure all of that? So it's very, very good. Like, let's say I was some like superpowered expert financial planner, or I had some like multi-billion-dollar, client management portfolio, and I was like, hello, Gregory. Hello. Thank you. Yes, it's time for our meeting today. So we're going to look at your portfolio, and we're going to examine your portfolio and see how we can optimize your portfolio. So what I'm noticing over here is we have a few problems with this stock allocation, with this source of revenue, with this asset. Whatever I don't know, real estate, debts, whatever it is, all these things to do with money. And then the money manager says, it might be an idea to reconfigure everything. Reconfigure everything in a way so you can release yourself from the traps and the burdens and the shackles of money. For example, millions and tens of millions of people in the United States are shackled by money. They're shackled by debt. They are burdened. They're trapped, sometimes for life, with debt. They might be working really hard. They might be making a lot of money, but they might be doing that and just spending it all on debt. Okay? It's not healthy. So I think what's happening in your reading here is that the Devil card is saying, hey, Gregory, it's time to take a close look at everything that's awkward, uncomfortable, and let's say unhealthy to do with the subject of money in your life right now. And let's reveal it to heal it. Okay? And let's say the devil's advocate. I'm Tarot Lumination. I'm being the devil's advocate. Hello, Gregory. We need to have a close examination here. What is not working? Because you truly do not want to deal with me for the rest of your life. We need to release these shackles so that you can have a lighter, freer life and more in tune with the energy of opportunity and growth that works with money. Okay. Nikki said rebalancing, for example. Exactly. So, Mr. Ross, here we are in the middle of Wall Street at my huge office on the 57th floor of the Empire State Building, and we're talking about your portfolio. So, Mr. Ross, we need to rebalance your portfolio. No offense, Mr. Ross, but we could do a little bit of adjusting here and a little bit of adjusting there, if you don't mind me saying so. Thank you. And then you have to admit, yep, I admit it. It's like, yeah, there are certain things that really suck right now about money in my life. So let's deal with it face on. What's the problem here? Dealing with it face on means having to call out some certain ugly truths that need to be called out. But you would rather not do it because it's so much more comfortable to live with the discomfort. So what's that expression like? How you learn how to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's not acceptable here anymore, Mr. Ross. It's time to basically say, you know what? I am uncomfortable. There are certain things which I'm basically saying, I'm not going to put up with this BS anymore. And that's what the Page of Swords is all about here. Calling out what needs to be called out. Being very direct and very blunt, right in your face with yourself about what needs to be called out about money in your personal life, your personal finances that are not working. But the problem is doing that means you have to face yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? This isn't working. And that can be, that's the thing, that's probably the last thing you ever want to do in life, is actually have to deal with this. Okay? So that's the problem. Having to call it out, having to say to yourself and basically say, you know what? I admit it, you're right. We have to do a rebalancing of my portfolio. That's what Nikki said. That's what Tarot Illumination said. I don't really want to do this because I sort of get by okay as it is already. But if you say so, Tarot Illumination, if you say so, Nikki, then we need to. This is very uncomfortable. Very, very uncomfortable to very awkwardly, very uncomfortably point out the things that are not working in your portfolio, the things that are keeping you shackled and hindered. So how are we going to deal with this? Beautiful. You got to reveal it to heal it. Every single nuance. It's time to identify, to go deep into your personal finances and identify every single line item that is not working for you. And don't be scared of it. You just call it out. You open up all of your personal finances and you basically say, you know, this is it. This is it. This is where all the money goes out. This is where all the money comes in. There's something out of whack here. We need to deal with it, okay? So the Eight of Swords is an indication that even if you don't know how to get through the problems right now, the best way to get through the problems right now is to very clearly accept and understand that there are multiple, like lots of little incongruities in your personal finances that need to be sorted out. It has to be sorted out one by one. And I think with deep intuition, you already know what each one is. It's almost like you're going to have to do, like, what's that word? A financial reckoning, a financial, what's that word when, like, the government inspector comes along and they do an audit. An audit. That's the word I'm looking for. Gregory, I'm looking for the word audit. The way to handle this situation is to audit yourself. Understand and accept that, you know, you can just keep going as things are right now, but you're not going to have the chance to really fully optimize your finances until you discover anything and everything that is not healthy and not working for you. And the only way you can do that is to call it out, no matter how scary it is, and then do an audit. Do an audit on yourself. And even better, it might be an idea. I don't know how good you are at, like, managing your own finances, but it's like, remember, Gregory, I am not a financial advisor. I'm not a financial consultant. I've made huge financial blunders in my life. I've suffered huge losses, okay? So don't take my word for any of this. I'm just a humble tarot reader. But the message is very clear. It's time to audit yourself with your finances. Nothing good, nothing bad. Just do an audit. Find out anything and everything that's not working. Define and understand anything and everything that's working. And then from there, figure out a new plan. Ace of Pentacles. New opportunities, new plan. But you can't make a new plan based on the status quo. Okay? You need a total audit. Again, you didn't hear this from me because I'm not a financial advisor. Okay? But there's your reading anyway. Okay, thank you very much. I hope that helps, Mr. Ross. Here we go. All right, Jasvinder, I don't know how your headache is going. I hope you're still here. Jasvinder, you're up. Okay, good. I see you, Jasvinder. Thank you. Now, you had something about a specific person. I'm going to go back in the chat. Let me just go back. Give me a second. I need to go back into the chat here. Go way back to the beginning of the show somewhere. Where was it? There it is. Okay, I see it. It says here. What actions will Johan take towards me this month? We are both friends. Okay. Actually, I'm going to put the name Johan on there. Actions. So I might have to reinterpret your notes in a way that works for tarot readings. Okay. Thank you, Gregory. I know you're not going to take it personally. It's no offense. I'm just calling out a reading. All right, Jasvinder, we're looking at a relationship situation. Both Capricorns, okay? When you say both Capricorn, that means I interpret that as sun signs. Capricorn sun signs, okay? So, Jasvinder, give me a second here. Let me just shuffle up and clear the deck a little bit. Mr. Ross, don't worry. I can relate completely. I wish I could do more with financial consulting, because I feel a very close affinity to money myself, but not in any kind of traditional way. The subject of money. So, yeah. We can follow up, Gregory, if you want to. Don't worry about it. But for now, yeah. But look at it this way, Gregory. I know an awful lot about what doesn't work, and I have very powerful, strong, intuitive connections about what is working. Thank you, Nikki. We can sort that out. I hope you can see that, Gregory. I'm going to keep shuffling, okay, Jasvinder? So, Jasvinder, this person you're talking about, Johan. Johan is a Capricorn. You are a Capricorn. You're friends right now, but what's coming? What do things look like going down the road? Before I get into your reading, Jasvinder, I want to just put up something to do with the astrodoodles here, okay? So, here we are. Back again with the astrodoodle for the day. You, okay? Okay, so there's very little communication, okay? Jasvinder, what I'm asking you to do is finals. Okay, it sounds like you're in school or college doing finals. and finals can be intense pressure, obviously. And if you're in finals, and if Johan is in finals, and there's no communication, that's understandable. So if you are telling me, it sounds like you're telling me that you, Jasvinder, you are a Capricorn sun, and Johan is also a Capricorn sun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this is the Astro Doodle for today, and I'm going to turn it into a solar rendition. So for all the this is a solar chart, okay? I'm going to put the sun on the horizon here. I don't know what your rising sign or your moon sign is, but don't worry about it. This is a solar chart based on the sun. So for all Capricorns on Earth right now, this is how the planets are lining up for you. These are the transiting planets. No matter what your own personal astrology chart looks like, if you are a Capricorn sun and we put that on the horizon as a solar chart, then the transits are affecting you like this because I'm putting Capricorn on the horizon, okay? So, you're a New Year's Eve Cappy and he's a Christmas Cappy. Wow! Okay. So, for all Capricorns, this is just for your information, FYI, okay? Jaswinder, FYI, for you and for Johan, both of you have been living with the huge, important transit of Pluto. Okay, let's go. Pluto has been in the sign of Capricorn since the middle of 2008. Here we are, 2018, 19, 20, 21. 13 years later. It took 13 years, okay, from Pluto and Capricorn to get from here to here where it is today. And we still have several more years until Pluto gets into Aquarius, okay? Okay, so right now, I don't know if you're in the United States, Jaswinder. I don't know if Johan's in the United States. But this particular degree of Pluto in Capricorn at 26 degrees Capricorn. Okay, do you see that right here? Pluto in Capricorn, 26 degrees Capricorn. This is an incredibly intense, high-pressure alignment on the United States. Okay? Pluto in Capricorn, it's roughly, like, say, what is it? 2008, 2018, 19, 20, 21, 23, 13, 14. It's like a 15 or 16 year journey. Okay? Remember this, okay, Jaswinder? You're both in New York, okay? So if you're in finals at school, and if you're fairly young, you might not have been aware of all these things that we're talking about. Because in 2008, that's a long time ago now, if you are aged below 30. Okay? So anyway, in 2008, Pluto entered Capricorn, and that was a profound shift for the whole of planet Earth, especially the United States. In 2008, 2009, that's when the global financial system collapsed. Okay? At that moment. Here we are, 13 years later. Pluto's in Capricorn, 26 degrees. Where are we now? So, it's still Capricorn energy, and it's affecting you like this on a solar chart. I'm putting, this is the horizon. Okay? This is the house of self. This is the house of other. So for you, Jasvinder, we're talking about Capricorn energy. Let's just put that you over here. You're going through very long, slow, deep transformational shifts that most likely you would not be aware of. Okay? Let's just be honest. At the same time, that's happening to Johann. Okay? Because he's probably in a very similar age range to you. Now, at the same time, we have Mars in Cancer. Mars is the planet of conflict, of energy, of achieving, of war, of violence, of passion, of sexuality, of let's get done what has to be done. It's the energy of I'm going to do what I have to do for me first, and I'm going to worry about the other people later. So, for example, Jasminder, if you're concerned about Johann, and it's becoming, let's say, very active, your concern about Johann is becoming very active, okay? So I just see your notes there. You're 25, he's 23. So you are very, very close in age. So being realistic, you would have been so young in 2008 that you would not be aware of the Capricorn energy over here. So you are growing and living through this as a young person who is living through the Capricorn transit of Pluto in your own lifetime. And it's going to change in about 2024. But for right now, this is where it's at. So, I just wanted to kind of put that all out there before we get into the reading. Everything that I just said pretty much affects all Capricorns, especially if you're in a Capricorn in relationship with another Capricorn. So, let's see. Give me a second. I just want to shuffle a bit more. I'm going to keep this very clean, very clear. The Pluto energy is very deep. It's very intense. It's sometimes very hard to understand. It's very hard to sometimes even put a language to it. Okay, cards are shuffled. I just want to leave it at that. Give me a second. I want to check in with you personally here. So, Jaswinder, you're 25, he's 23. So in terms of astrology, you're very, very close. He's a Capricorn, you're a Capricorn. Fine. So you're both kind of like living through this whole journey in sequence, like it's happening simultaneously with you and Johann. But in some ways, for you, you're very lucky because you're still young enough, but you're also smart enough to even show up on this channel. Most of the people who show up on this channel are over 30 years old, or sometimes over 40 or 50. So for you to be here when you're 25, that tells me that you are some way, somehow, you're already sensing the depth of what's going on with Pluto in Capricorn. Otherwise you wouldn't be here, okay? So who knows? We might have readings every year or something. But Capricorn typically energy thinks for the long term. What works for the long term? How do we do things right so it's effective and workable in the Capricorn sense? Capricorn always likes to take the next step with confidence, knowing that that takes you to the next step with confidence, to the next step with confidence, the next step with confidence. Okay? Capricorn is typically risk averse. Capricorn is usually, they are concerned about achievement, about, you could call it success, about results here in three-dimensional terms, here on planet Earth, okay? Measurable success. And that's a very noble thing. I wish I had that energy more strongly inside of me myself, okay? So, Jasmine, you said, like, if you have a high IQ, that's great. But as you know, it can also be a problem. For example, Jaswinder, my dear, dear brother, he is a classic Capricorn, okay? He has a very high IQ. I'm not saying that all Capricorns have a high IQ, but he has a very, very high IQ, and it became very clear when he was very young. I'm not even close. Not even close. But he has these classic Capricorn characteristics of seeing the long-term picture and understanding that to get from here to here, you have to take steps. You can't just go woof. You take one step at a time. And you learn as you go. And you make sure that every step is safe and secure before you take the next step. And have you ever seen videos of goats climbing in trees, goats climbing on mountains? Then you will understand the energy of Capricorn, okay? So, another thing I'm going to share with you, which is really not traditional tarot, not traditional astrology, is what happens when you have a sun sign at the same as the sun sign as another. For example, when I have known people who have the same sun sign as myself, I noticed that it was very easy to recognize qualities in the other person that I did not like. But it was also easy to recognize qualities in the other person that I did like. And there was also this sense of like moving together like this without ever having to get into a discussion about what works best overall. Everything is done on autopilot. So one of the beauties about having a sun conjunct sun relationship is that in some ways it's very easy to be in sync with each other. One of the downsides, I'm just going to point out one of the downsides of a sun conjunct sun relationship, Capricorn sun, is that where is the learning curve? Because most of the learning, most of the growth comes through, I hate to say it, conflict. So I'm not going to say to you, dear Jasminder, please go out and look for a Libra or an Aries. No, don't do that. But please also allow that sun conjunct sun can make it too cozy. It makes it, the relationship dynamics can be so narrow that you're not aware that you're missing out a lot on your own personal growth that you would never discover outside of the Capricorn perimeters, okay? Jaswinder Bell, you seem ambitious in his eyes. Well, ambitious is a natural Capricorn trait. Other people might say it as ambitious for yourself, like, oh, you want so much of this for yourself. But really, a more pure, more realistic and honest understanding of ambition is like, what is the best, most optimal way for you to be you? There's nothing shameful about that. Ambition is a beautiful theme. It's a beautiful energy when it is understood. Okay? All right, let me get to your reading itself. Wow. Sorry, I really got distracted there. Sorry, Jaswinder. I'm going to shuffle again because I got distracted. Jasvinder, before I do this, I just want to let you know that in my own personal life, a lot of the relationship dynamics involve sun square sun, or sun opposite sun, or something like that, or moon or rising in angles of squares or oppositions. And what tends to happen is, I mean, might sound like I'm being very selfish, but I grow and I evolve from this. In the other aspects of my personal life, where I have lots of, say, what are called trines, these harmonious configurations with other people, you can also grow as well from there. And those are typically much easier and much more comfortable and much more naturally occurring, and they feel more harmonious. But a lot of the times, there's less opportunity to grow and evolve and achieve your ambitions. Okay? So it's a balancing act. And you will learn as you go along. All right, here we go. Let's have a look. So we're talking about Johann. I'm doing a very, very extreme cut, as you can see, because I want clarity. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. And let's have a look at the surrounding weather. Okay. So, with the Knight of Cups here, let me see if you can see this really clearly. Hopefully the cameras will pick it up. It's a beautiful card, beautiful artistry. It's not doing it. Oh well, I don't know what to say. Jasvinder, what I'm sensing here with the Knight of Cups is that there's a lot of purity, there's a lot of innocence here, in that your intentions are pure, wholesome, and good. Also, the energy of Johann is also pure, wholesome, and good. The energy you bring to him, the energy he brings to you, is basically wholesome and good. Does that mean it's going to be easy and everything's going to be lovey-dovey romance, blah, blah, blah? That's fine. So when I see the Knight of Cups here, it's like, God. Okay. I'm going to get back to the astrology just for a moment. Here is the Capricorn energy in the planets right now. Pluto, the planet of deep, profound secrecy, privacy, transformation. It's the energy, it's so deep inside of you. It's the energy of the soul. It's the energy of the self that you are least likely to know or understand. Pluto is transiting your sun, okay? Your solar self. Here. Now, at this moment in time, Mars is in Cancer, which is the opposition here. This is the energy of opposition. In a few weeks, Mars is going to be into a hard opposition with Pluto, and you will start to see a bright red line, very like this. See this one here? It's going to show up here. Roughly over here. Okay? Mars in Cancer, opposite Pluto in Capricorn. That is kind of a volatile alignment. When you have Mars opposite Pluto, it's like these two energies that are very, very strong. the Pluto energy, the Mars energy. And they are opposing each other. And they are evolved enough to realize, like, I don't want to hurt you. And I don't want to hurt you. So how are we going to deal with this? Because there's a lot of like pent up energy here. And the pent up energy almost has nowhere to go. Pluto opposite Mars. Mars opposite Pluto. It can be very like frustrating. It's like the energy of like so near, and yet so far. Because you don't want to hurt Johann. Johann doesn't want to hurt you. But my guess, as your reader, is that Johann is very aware of your energy, but in these very diffuse ways that would be very hard to put into words. And yet it is there. So, over the next few weeks, maybe even the next, it's the next few weeks or so, please be aware, okay, Jasvinder, that you might get these, these strong feelings of connection with Johann to you, but it might feel very frustrated, like it's not being communicated, like it's just, you're there, he's there. He's there, you're there. You're both Capricorns in your 7th house, okay? For both of you, Mars is transiting your 7th house of relationship. And that's, in a way, you could almost say that's like pent up, physical, romantic, passionate energy that's looking for expression, but it doesn't have anywhere to go. So it's very frustrating. So you might feel that. And he might be feeling that too. But, lucky for you, it's happening in the context of love. It's nothing squalid or, sleazy or anything like that. To me, it looks very pure. Whether anything happens, that's a different scenario. This looks like very pent-up energy that kind of has nowhere to go. Let's have a look at the situation. Wow. We have the Knight of Wands here. Now, this reading is about you, but you're asking about Johann. And the Knight of Wands, it's like energy coming at you. It's the energy of chivalry, the energy of noble, good intention, the energy of doing what is right. So, to me, this looks very complimentary. Even though there might be this extreme sense of inability to connect one-on-one, and for you to fall into his arms, for him to fall into your arms and have something lovey-dovey and romantic, it still has the qualities of something very symmetrical, where you are reflecting energy back to Johann in a way that's being reflected back to you from Johann, and it's very reciprocal. It's very symmetrical, like you recognize each other. Like Johann recognizes you and the highest qualities of you, and you recognize Johann in the highest qualities of Johann. But this is very kind of noble energy. So does that mean it's going to turn into like lovey-dovey romance and you're just going to kind of be all over each other and you're not going to worry about your careers or whatever? I don't think so. What I think here is a recognition of nobility, an acknowledgement of a recognition between self and other. Okay? With Mars in Capricorn, it brings it to life. It makes it very active. You recognize someone of high caliber. Someone of high caliber recognizes you. If you are ambitious, highly knowledgeable, and a very high IQ, and you are being recognized by a significant other, the chances are that Johann probably has similar qualities. So it's mutual appreciation. Mutual appreciation. Does that turn into romance, passion, lust, love, marriage, babies? I don't know. The one thing that happens when you have a Capricorn, well, any Sun-Sun conjunction, is that there's a high degree of recognition between self and other, and between other and self. What's the problem here? Okay, so it's kind of like I was going to say this anyway. With the Two of Pentacles, when you get to a high degree of synchronicity or recognition between yourself and another, it kind of puts you in a position of how are we going to do this? How is this going to work? Like, are we, like, okay, sorry, give me a second here. Like, okay, I'm kind of acting things out right now. Pretend I'm you, just vendor, pretend I am Johann at the same time. It's just like, I'm 25, you're 23. You recognize qualities in me. I recognize qualities in you. We would not be connecting unless we recognize certain compatibilities and equalities between ourselves and each other. In other words, I just been to recognize you as someone who's like, you're at my level. And then Johann is also like, I recognize you, Justbender, as someone at my level. But I have to also say that you might be a little bit above me. But maybe he's not saying that directly, but at least you're dealing with the concept of parity. And so that's inevitable when you have a sun conjunct sun relationship. So the question becomes like, what are you going to do with that? One of the things that I've noticed about sun conjunction relationships, that in some ways it's a little bit claustrophobic, because it's all about you and them, and then it's all about them and you, and the rest of the world kind of like, what's that? And again, in my own experience, we can benefit as individuals by having a wide open exposure to the rest of the world, other signs, other people. Capricorns, for example, like clashing sun signs, like the Aries and Libra, or maybe a Cancerian energy or something like that. That you might encounter people like that in your life, and the same for Johann. Johann might encounter some Aries and Libra and Cancerian people. And what does that look like? Does that mean you're not going to be friends anymore? The energy of friendship is very different from the energy of lust or love or romance or traditional marriage or things like, sexuality, babies, having fun, or what are we going to do with all of this stuff? And it's very appropriate for you to be like figuring out, where do you stand with Johann? Where does Johann stand with you? Hence, you get your mini reading. Okay? So it makes sense. But it is a delicate thing. It's very, very, very delicate, because the chances are you recognize a lot of qualities in Johann that are like you. Johann recognizes a lot of qualities in you that are like Johann. And so to get things to work in terms of like love and relationship, it could be very, very delicate, because you're both smart enough to understand that it's delicate. Okay, so how are we going to deal with this? Okay, so I've got the Seven of Swords here. This is a very different energy to what we've got going on here. My feeling with the Seven of Swords for you, Jasvinder, this is your reading about you, is to be very, very careful how you proceed in this relationship. Because my feeling is that Johann is being very careful about how Johann proceeds in the relationship. Because no matter how intelligent you are, no matter how high is your IQ, no matter how much knowledge you are still in a state of youth, and you are growing and evolving, and there's a lot of stuff that still needs to be learned and experienced in life. And with the Seven of Swords, okay, with Pluto energy, great power comes with great responsibility. Great responsibility allows you to carry great power. And so my feeling is that when I see the Seven of Swords here, regarding two people where you have not yet reached your Saturn return, okay? You've got several years, and he has several years before you reach your Saturn return. And if you're both intelligent, hardworking, and all of that kind of stuff, but my feeling is that by the time you reach your Saturn return, both of you, around the age of 28 and a half, 29, you will have already lived through so many things that other people didn't get a chance to live through at this point in their life. And you would be regarded as someone who is very mature for their age. Same thing with Johann. But to get there requires you having to be very, very careful that, for example, you don't exploit your power, your intelligence, your wisdom, your tarot readings, your astrology, and your maturity purely for your advantage. Okay? In other words, it's almost like, to me it feels like it's forbidden for you, because you, let's say, with great power comes great responsibility. If you have such a high IQ, such intelligence, and you're working and progressing towards, very tangible career agendas, with school, college, career, and all of that, if you are tempted to use that power for self purposes, that's not going to work for you. So you have to be very, very careful that going forward, like as much as you might love Johann, as much as Johann might love you, and it's being conducted in the context of friendship right now, you have to be very, 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 very careful that you do not let yourself, let's say, manipulate the situation for your advantage, so that you can enjoy what you feel would be a romance with you and Johann, purely for your own self-gratification. And also, you have to be very careful that Johann doesn't do the same thing. Chances are Johann is very smart, capable like you, so you have to be very careful. In other words, it's almost like both of you are very, very smart. Both of you are very, very capable of, let's say, very gently, very subtly, very, very delicately manipulating the situation or interpreting the situation in a way that is purely self-serving. So you have to be very, very careful, okay? Because that doesn't work in the long term. In the long term, when it comes to loving and being loved, it requires huge amounts of compassion, forgiveness, giving each other a lot of room and space for mistakes and errors, and appreciating each other in your weaknesses. But in this situation, it looks like you, Jasvinder, you are, I would say, well evolved, very self-aware, and you're encountering someone else who is the same, and you have to be very careful. With great power comes great responsibility. So you're relating to Johann from this level, and he's relating to you from this level. You are older, more mature, but the temptation to get like this, to be one to have a full-on communal sense of fulfillment in love and relationship at the physical level. Boy, girl, love, romance. You're awesome. You're awesome. I love you. I love you. You have to be extremely careful, because as you grow and evolve, I don't want to paint a lot of darkness in this, okay? But it's like being in a situation where both parties, let's say, they're so highly compatible that it becomes a problem. And that's what I was talking about with sun. When you have such a high degree of recognition, of understanding, and what's the word? Resonance between yourself and other, you can take so much for granted. But there is a flip side to all of this. In terms of astrology and relationships, the vast amount of our growth and learning happens in the context of astrological squares and oppositions. That's just my personal observation after many years of doing this stuff. When you have a full-on conjunction, there's a strong degree of recognition, okay? Like, I'm awesome just like you. And the other one's like, I'm awesome just like you. You don't even have to talk about it. It's instantaneous. But therein lies the problem, okay? It becomes like a very, very narrow focus where you get very little objectivity outside of Johann, and Johann gets very little objectivity outside of Jasvinder. And that can turn into a very, very intense, almost claustrophobic situation. So you have to be aware of that in advance, because anytime it feels uncomfortable, which is going to happen, anytime you have very challenging transits that affect you or Johann, then you could end up taking it out on each other. Like, I'm blaming you for my problems. Or like, I'm Johann. Well, I'm blaming you for my problems. And then it just becomes like an echo chamber. Bam, 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 bam. So please allow for that going forward. So, get back to the reading. With the Seven of Swords here, the way to go forward is to understand that to go forward in this relationship dynamic, you and Johann with you, please understand that it's very, very easy to, let's say, what's the word for it? I need a specific. It would be very, very easy to steer the relationship in a way that works for you. Or it could be very easy if under stress, it would be Jasvinder wanted to steer the relationship in a way that works for Johann. Okay? So you just have to be very careful. Seven of Swords here, be very, very, very careful going forward. You don't want to hurt Johann. You don't want Johann to hurt you. And I'm sure that Johann doesn't want to be hurt by you, and I'm sure that Johann does not want to hurt you. However, you have to be aware that it's very possible, because of the dynamic that I just described, where things can get very, very intense, like this, like an echo chamber. It's just me and you. It's just me and you. You and me, you and me, me and you. Okay? So, just be aware, okay? Give yourself the room. Be aware of all of this in advance before you place extreme high levels of expectation on Johann or yourself or the relationship. Okay? So, I hope that helps you, Jasvinder. whether he's going to come to you or not. Let's say he does come to you, in the classical male manner. Just be very, very careful. What are the true intentions? If he does not come to you, please be aware that it's like, understand what's really going on. You just put in your note there, he vents a lot to you, like venting. Yeah. So if he vents a lot to you, it might indicate that he's taking advantage of the comfort of the relationship because you're already so in tune, Capricorn. So be very, very careful. It's important to know that going forward, you and your relationship is vulnerable to misuse or misinformation or working against you without you even knowing it's happening until it's too late, okay? And you calm him down, okay? Also remember, at age 23, there is a lot of testosterone, okay? And estrogen, okay? Please be aware of that. And filter the relationships through hormones. I'm not kidding. I know it sounds ridiculous, like I'm not a doctor or anything, but please understand that hormones, the testosterone and estrogen, and all the pheromones play a really significant part in how we interact with others. And it happens at a very primitive, primal, animal, subliminal way. Okay, that's the end of the reading. Thank you very much, Spencer. Okay, thank you, everybody. I'm glad you were here. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight and donating like you did. And we're going to keep going. I'll be here again on Sunday, God willing. And we'll do this again. What else am I supposed to say here? Subscribe, like, and hit the notifications, all those things. I don't know what else to say right now, so I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to put on a little piece of Tarot Lumination music. And what am I going to play? I don't know. I'm just going to play a piece of what I would call muzak. It's like just, what should I call it? Watch me. Okay. Give me a second. Please give me a second. No, this isn't working. Oh, there it is. Okay, so let me just check out with everybody. Thank you very much. I hope these readings helped you. We'll do this again another time, okay? Let me check out here. And we'll do this again, okay?